Tank carries the power. He's sneaky, explosive.
It's traps, and he's got ridiculous one-punch knockout power too. He's just such an interesting fighter because his style is so different from everybody else. He's so conservative in the early rounds, throws so few punches, and he lets you work. He lets you work, and you're backing up, and you're always afraid of that power, and he's just moving in, trying to find that opening where he just gets in there on you.
Nah, I'm not shocked. I mean, when his last fight when he fought Lamont, Jake Paul was at the fight. He told y'all he was going to fight somebody like Jake Paul, so I'm not shocked. It don't surprise me, so.
Joe Rogan has delivered a serious warning to Jake Paul ahead of his upcoming bout with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan emphasized that stepping into the ring with a proven knockout specialist like Davis is an entirely different challenge compared to the fighters Paul has faced up to now. While he credited Jake for his commitment to developing as a boxer, Rogan stressed that Tank's speed, power, and fight intelligence could quickly expose any flaws in Paul's game. In Rogan's view, this isn't just another celebrity showcase, it's a dangerous matchup that could end bad if Paul underestimates what he's up against.
Boxing has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta "Tank" Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder. Nearly a 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Rogan has often praised Gervonta "Tank" Davis's knockout power, comparing it to a smaller version of Mike Tyson and calling it downright terrifying. During a discussion with comedian Ali Sadiq, Rogan broke down Davis's 7th-round knockout of Ryan Garcia, pointing out how Davis generates incredible power despite his compact build. Rogan noted, "Crazy? There's nothing extraordinary about his physique," underscoring the deceptive nature of Davis's strength. He also highlighted Davis's relentless fighting style, which only adds to the fearsome presence he brings into the ring.
I am a Gervonta fan. I think that guy's so unusual.
Yeah.
His style's so unusual, and his patience.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Leo Santa Cruz fight was really something for me because Leo Santa Cruz is a technician. He's great, Mexican style, but he's also a technician. And the fight was very close before Tank stopped him.
Yeah.
But he has that power that can end it.
Well, he finds these openings and he sees them, but he doesn't go after them right away. He waits for the right time. He's so patient.
Right.
Like when you watch the early rounds of his fights, he's like at a world champions that are competing today at the highest level. He probably has the lowest punch count in the early rounds.
Yeah.
Because just wait, but he also knows he's got that nuclear option that if he can fucking crack you, most likely he's going to take you out. He's got massive confidence in that. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in.
Yeah.
There's guys that like Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. And so I was just a giant fan of the guy. I just loved it as a person who really enjoyed technique. I like watching someone who's exceptional at it.
Although Rogan believes Jake Paul isn't ready to take on elite professionals like Tank Davis, he has still given Paul considerable credit for what he's accomplished in the ring. Rogan has called Paul's navigation of the celebrity-driven boxing scene genius, recognizing that Paul is not only earning massive paydays, but also proving himself as a legitimate boxer. He's praised Paul for showing real skill, solid ring IQ, and an impressive ability to promote himself, qualities that have kept him relevant in the sport. At the same time, Rogan remains clear-eyed about the spectacle surrounding Paul's fight, acknowledging the entertainment factor that drives much of his success.
But is this Logan Paul? Is he a legitimate boxer?
A legitimate boxer, yes. People mocked me when I was saying that before, but now I think people are coming around. And the way I look at it, I say, if this kid was not a YouTuber, if he wasn't some guy that you knew from the time he was 16 years old on YouTube, and you just saw him box, and you saw him knock out former UFC champions, you saw him beat legitimate boxers, or beat athletes, and beat a bunch of MMA fighters, you'd go, this kid can fucking fight. He knows how to fight. It's not, nothing he's doing looks wrong. He's not sticking his head straight up in the air and winging punches with his eyes closed. He's fighting well. He looks good. And if he was just an up-and-coming boxer that was this exciting, highly promotable, really good at selling fights, you'd be like, this kid's the future. He's really something special. If Jake Paul wasn't Jake Paul, if he wasn't this YouTube guy, he was just a boxer, and you see a boxer knock out the former UFC welterweight champion, not just the former, but one of the best ever, knock him out with one punch like that. Like, oh man, have you seen this Jake Paul dude coming up? He's fucking for real. Because nothing about watching him fight, to me, screams like he's in over his head. Nothing. He looks like a real boxer.
Much of the fight's intrigue comes from the stark physical differences between the two fighters. Jake Paul, at 6 feet 1 inch and roughly 199 pounds, normally competes in the cruiserweight division, while Gervonta "Tank" Davis, standing 5 feet 5.5 inches and fighting around 135 pounds, holds the WBA lightweight title. The nearly 60-pound weight gap has sparked debate over the fairness and safety of the matchup. Still, both men have agreed to move forward with the exhibition, with Paul reportedly planning to slim down to 195 pounds in an effort to even the playing.
Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis is official. A lightweight takes on a heavyweight, a bit insane, a big size difference, but also a speed difference. I want to talk about this fight, my picks and predictions for how it's going to play out, and basically just let's run it. So the only combat sports fight I can think of the top of my head that was similar in the size disparity is Buckley versus Vizabioff. Now look at these guys. Buckley is 5'6", I believe 5'7". Vizabioff is 6'5". It just looks ridiculous. Jake Paul, it says 6'1", but I think he's more like 6'2". He's a big fucking dude. 76-inch reach. Well, Gervonta's only 5'5", with a 9-inch reach advantage on Jake Paul. 9-inch reach. You're having a laugh, but she's not all about size, boys. As Buckley showed against Vizabioff, speed is a factor, and these little guys can move. Buckley actually won this fight on points. A lot of jabs to the body, overhand right, on repeat. Rinse and repeat. Use your speed. Get out of range. When you're in range, you're hitting the body, hitting up top. When you're out of range, you're just moving around, keeping the big man moving. I do see this going a similar way. Now, I'm not a Jake Paul hater by any means. I actually think he's pretty decent. But just the size difference, I mean, he weighs almost 100 pounds more than Gervonta. I mean, he is going to be a lot slower. And Jake isn't the most explosive and the quickest guy. I mean, like I said, I'm not a Jake Paul hater. I actually think he's pretty good. He's got power, a lot of power. But he's just not that quick. And Gervonta is very fucking quick. Now, there is no way in the world Gervonta Davis finishes Jake Paul. You cannot pay me enough on that pick. But Gervonta Davis on points, I think is basically signed, sealed, delivered. It's going to be jab to the body, move, jab to the body, and move. And jab to the body again and move. It's all it's going to be. So if you're paying for this fight, I mean, I think it's on Netflix, so most of us should be locked and loaded, but you're going to only way to pay for this one, don't even bother. It's going to be boring as fuck. It's going to be Gervonta jabbing the body and Jake Paul missing overhands. That's what this fight's going to be, and it's going to be, I don't know, it's going to be 120 to 100 in favor of the little man. 5'5", 63-inch reach, Gervonta "Tank" Davis.
For Davis, the real risk lies in reputation rather than physical danger. Losing to Jake Paul, who holds a 12-1 record but far less professional experience, could damage his credibility among fans and boxing purists. On the other hand, Paul has much to give, as a victory over an established, undefeated champion like Davis would significantly boost his legitimacy and exposure. Still, many question whether this matchup belongs in professional boxing at all. Critics, including Ryan Garcia, have openly mocked the idea, comparing it to scripted wrestling rather than a true contest. Garcia dismissed the notion of Davis bulking up to nearly 195 pounds as delusion, and warned that boxing is shifting away from pure competition and toward popularity-driven spectacles. Despite the backlash, the fight is set to attract massive attention, with Netflix streaming the event worldwide. Garcia cautioned that the sport's integrity is eroding, as money-driven matchups are increasingly prioritized over merit.
I think Davis is more to lose because he's the bona fide world champion. I don't care if he's much smaller. I think Jake Paul has sort of plateaued as far as his boxing is concerned. It's rather low level. He's big, he's physical, he's strong, he can hit. So there is that risk. Davis, at lightweight, you're in a moment where it's too physical for you. You can clinch. Against the heavyweight, where you clinch, you ain't getting out of that corner just clinching anymore if you run out of space. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. But Davis, listen, there's a lot of talking points that I'm sure we'll get into when this gets closer to the fight. Davis can still punch at lightweight. Can he drop a heavyweight? There's a lot to gain there, right? If Davis knocks...
The answer is yes.
If Davis drops Jake on his ass, as much as Davis is the one with more to lose, it's still a highlight moment.
A visual that will stay forever.
Yeah.
But if you get dropped, even if you're smaller, you're still a world champion in multiple weight classes. If you get dropped, what's the look? What's the feel? On the inside, as boxers, me and Chris Algieri, the champion, even you, Jimmy, you have fight experience, so we know that the risk is a big guy that big hits you. You're probably going down if you're a small guy. He hits you clean. So we know the risk, but how does it look to the public eye who don't understand that? You know what I mean? The public. So there is a lot to lose, though. There's a bit to gain. I wouldn't necessarily have an issue with this had Davis's career arc been one that benefited boxing. Davis was manufactured and put into a position where he's supposed to benefit boxing, and I don't think he has. I think he's hurt boxing. So by giving him this reward, that's my problem. Why are we watching this? Why don't you make him earn his spot that he still hasn't earned, mind you?
All right, so it looks like it's official that Jake Paul is going to be fighting Tank Davis. So pretty crazy considering Jake Paul is 6'1", 220 walking around, and Tank Davis is 5'5", and I think he's 140 walking around. So we're talking about 80-pound weight difference and then 8 inches of height. Everyone's been telling Jake Paul that he needs to fight real fighters in their prime, and Gervonta Tank Davis is in his prime and one of the best fighters out there, but this is just ridiculous. Let me know what you think.
Joe Rogan has also questioned Jake Paul's choices outside of this matchup, pointing to his decision to delay a fight with Anthony Joshua until 2026. Rogan expressed skepticism over the postponement, even joking, "I think he put on all the steroids," suggesting the delay feels suspicious, given that both fighters appear ready. To Rogan, the move seems less about preparation and more about hidden motive. Despite Paul's size advantage, many boxing experts still believe Gervonta Tank Davis will secure the knockout. Former world champion Sean Porter confidently predicted a KO win for Davis, saying, "I'm betting on Tank." You'd be surprised analysts widely agree that Davis's speed, ring IQ, and knockout power could more than offset the size disparity. For insiders, Davis's proven skill set simply outweighs Paul's physical attributes. Reactions to the fight have been mixed. Some argue it undermines the sport's integrity, while others acknowledge the massive financial and promotional value such high-profile spectacles bring.
Far what Gervonta Davis did for your preparation.
You know what? I think getting him on the back end of the sparring was more so to make sure the eyes and the focus and everything's there. He is one of the sharpest boxers I've ever been in the ring with, and I'm sure it won't change. It won't change much after being in the ring with Terrence. I would imagine that Terrence will be the sharpest, but that boy Tank is sharp.
What do you think?
Will Tank Davis knock out Jake Paul? That's a question that many people are asking now that they're actually set to fight November 14th. Most people think that the weight disadvantage is going to play a major role in how this fight's going to turn out. Personally, I could kind of see a knockout. We already saw how Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather did, and that was like the same type of weight difference, I believe. Also, on top of that, any punch could be a knockout shot. It just has to be placed well with time, and we know that Tank has explosiveness and amazing timing and accuracy. So at the end of the day, it's always possible. But do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think it's just going to be another Jake Paul decision fest match. I don't think that anything super exciting is going to happen, but it is kind of interesting to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
If you do fight, what weight would it be at?
195. It would be an exhibition.
Okay, so it was going to be an exhibition, not sanctioned, but no restrictions. You can knock each other out and shit like that. It was going to be at a catch weight of 195 pounds, 10 rounds, 3 minutes. I've been trying to figure this out. Why was I a Tank hater for wanting to see Tank go up 5 pounds? To get some smoke with like Teofimo Lopez or something. I just wanted to see him go up 5 pounds and fight Teofimo Lopez. And all of you were saying, you want Tank hurt, Showbiz. You a hater. You want him hurt. Then I'm convinced, okay, he's too small. But he can fight Jake at 195.